Hey, good evening, everybody. Today, or should I say tonight, this evening, I want to talk about a candle that is really very popular, and a lot of people don't know the complete potential and the full aspect of the candle. The candle today I'm going to be speaking about is the Just Justice candle. Now, you can see this particular one is written in both Spanish and in English. And the reason why you have both Spanish and English is because Just Justice candles are very popular in the Santeria um, practice and tradition, as well as in the voodoo practice and religion. And it's basically used the exact same way. And I think, though, I'm going to tilt my candle down just a bit, my camera. I think that people limit just how powerful this candle is. And I'm going to explain why. Just for the most part, this candle is usually used in court cases. Um, and you go there, you go to the court and you light the candle in advance. And the reason why you generally use the candle is to make sure that, of course, the concept is that justice is served on this person. But people, excuse me, neglect to realize the name of the candle is just justice. Now, let me give you the realization. And this is one of the reasons why I always think that with a court case, you should use. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but but I'm just going to throw out there. You should always use, in some way or another, High John the Conqueror. Always. But with this candle, the reason why I say people underestimate the power of it is, let's say that you went to court and you did not light a just judge candle prior to the court date, and let's say the perpetrator who may have done wrong towards you or somebody you know or your loved one or your family member, you get the idea. Let's say that that person got a sentence. Let me go a little bit more detail. Let's say that that person may have committed a heinous crime like a murder. And the judge, he looks at it and he debates, and maybe he's up for, I don't know, re-election, whatever these judges are up with. And he gave him, or he sentences this perpetrator to a less than adequate sentence. In other words, he, this guy committed a crime, say, of murder, capital murder, and he only gets a sentence of 5 years. And that's it. And you're like, wait a minute, that justice has not been served. Justice has really not been served. I mean, this guy committed a murder and he only gets 5 years. You're like, So let's say that case happened and you didn't light this candle before the court date. You still can light this candle because here's the thing, the key word, just justice. Justice, the just amount of justice towards his person was not given to him. So what you would do in a case like that is you would get a candle, like you would get this candle, a just justice candle, and you would indeed dress it with High John the Conqueror resin. Now, see, I do this in a reversible sort of way. Most practitioners, when they dress a Just Judge candle, they will use High John the Conqueror oil, okay? And they will use, and they may not use any resin. Some do, some don't. And honestly, it's a choice between the practitioner, whether they use the High John the Conqueror resin. I use, the reason I say I'm a little different is because I use both. I use the High John the Conqueror oil. So that would mean I'm taking the oil, I'm going to go from the top and I'm going to go all the way around with High John the Conqueror oil. Okay? So keep that in mind. And then I will use, this is where some people change up. This is what me. Instead of using High John the Conqueror Razin, which you can use, I'm not saying you can't, I use Just Judge Razin. I want you to take a look at that. Now that's handmade. I make that myself. Now I have used High John the Conqueror Razin too, but I like the contrast between this. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. I'm going to put this over to the side. Because the High John the Conqueror oil is commanding. It is like powerful, strong. But the Just Justice Razin balances off. Like, okay, yeah, yeah, it's going to be strong. Oh, but by the way, it's not only going to be a strong candle, it's going to be a fair candle. So, in other words, this person is not only going to get a hardcore sentence, but because of the Just Judge powder, he's going to serve the whole damn sentence. I'm sorry, I have to laugh at how I said that. In other words, as you realize that most times when people are sentenced, they get, 25, but they may only serve maybe 18. When you infuse a candle with both of those attributes, they will get the 25 and they will serve the 25. Just judge. Okay. Or if it says 25 to life, they will more likely get towards life and very less likely to get only the 25. That's why I use the balance of the just, I'm going to show it, the just Razin and the High John the Conqueror oil. Now, I make both of these at my shop from hand. This is very difficult to make yourself, but you can. So I don't want you to think that it's impossible. Sorry, not trying to be a pain. I will not divulge my recipe because there's more than one recipe for all things. There always is. I will say, it smells wonderful. But one of the recipes here in mine is orange peels. That I will tell you. And we're going to go on to there. I'm going to tell you more about the Just Judge candle. So, what I just described is how to dress the candle. Okay? I would strongly suggest you never use a candle without dressing it. Now, the reason that it's so important to dress the candle is because you are putting energy into this candle. You are putting the intent of what this candle is for and what you expect. Because this is like your beacon of magic. Okay, think of it like this is my beacon of magic. This is um my declaration of what I want and the intent that I expect, to come from it. Because you have to approach any kind of magic, including candle magic, with not a please make this happen, deity, please. It's I am a form of deity, and this will happen. As my will, so mote it be. Be commanding, be intense, and be clear. When I use a just justice candle, I don't say something like, please let this person get prosecuted for what they did wrong. It's this man will serve the full sentence for everything he did wrong. And that is my will. Okay. Now, there is another way to use this candle because I was showing you the way to use this candle in case somebody who did wrong towards you or someone you love, to make sure they get prosecuted the just fullness of the law. Okay? That's how I showed you that way. Now, there is another way to use this. The other way. Let's say you are the person who is being prosecuted and you know you didn't do it. You're like, wait a minute, I really didn't do it. Or let's say you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time and it looks like you were going to take the fall for something that you really didn't do. Okay. And that happens. Okay. Now, still, I would use, you were thinking, well, will I dress this a little differently? No, you won't dress this differently. You will still use the High John the Conqueror oil, and of course, you're going to definitely use the Just Judge powder. Still, still, I would say that because you do want that balance, okay? The reason I say use, and in this case, the reason I say use the High John the Conqueror oil is because you want the judge to know I am an innocent man and not just I'm an innocent man, please don't prosecute me. No, it's you know something, I got this. I am an innocent man. Because High John the Conqueror is a commanding thing. It's I am. It's like a no frills attitude. That's why we use it. And in justice, it's like no, justice will prevail. You know, forget this. I am innocent, and you gonna know I'm innocent. Okay. Now, for the Just Judge powder, the reason I say in this case to use it is because no, you know something? Justice will be served. I don't care if you guys have to dig under a rock to show my innocence. It will be shown. It will be proven. And I will walk out of this court with either A, because you might have done something, but you didn't do the main something, the actual amount of time I truly need to serve without any frills, without any extras, or B, I'm going to walk out of this innocent because I really didn't do anything and it's going to be proven. But you've got to put that out there in the universe. Put your intent of what you expect, okay? Never play when we are doing magic, we don't play with maybe, could be, should be. It's not that. It is, it will, I am, and so mote it be. These are definite statements. Magic is not wishy washy. Spell casting is never wishy washy. It is always commanding and right, straightforward. Always. So you always do a straight path. That's what I'm saying. Now, a little bit of folklore on this. Okay, you can see there is a lot of heavy, I guess you could say, Catholicism on this candle. And actually, believe it or not just Catholicism, there is some, I guess you could say, in some areas, some Jewish aspects, one area. But I'm going to try to break down the whole picture of the candle. I wish I just had one of those pointers. I'm going to use my ink pen, use a lighter color one. Right here, I'm trying to, you see a rooster. That rooster represents the crow, not the crow, but the cocking, the cock-a-doodle-doo of the rooster that crowed 3 times when Peter betrayed Jesus and said he did not know him. Not betrayed, denied Jesus and said he didn't know him. That's what that represents. This right here, you may see a face on a I don't want to say the word rag, but let's say a handkerchief, but it's really something to wipe a face with. So a cloth, that's a better word, a cloth. That cloth represents when Saint Veronica wiped the face of Jesus when he was marching up to Golgotha, where he was crucified. Now, let's keep going. The skulls represent Golgotha, okay? And these little sticks you see inside the skulls represents what the soldiers did when they were casting the stones to see who was going to get Jesus' clothes after he was crucified. And then you have the ladder, which was used to actually climb up towards the cross to put the sign up that says King of the Jews. And let's see what else. We're going to keep going. There's so much. There's so much. The snake represents Adam, and the the mythology goes that Adam, which is this is the Jewish traditional part I was referring to. Adam was actually buried here on Golgotha. And since Adam was actually the one who did the original sin, Jesus on the cross represents actually getting rid of that sin. But that snake represents the original sin. The bag of that bag, I hope you can see it right there. that represents the satchel of silver that Judas Iscariot took when he betrayed Jesus. And the sword, if you can see that little shiny thing, that sword represents the sword that was cut into the heart of Jesus when blood and water spilled out, merged together. So, and believe it or not, with everything I just said, there's even more. Right here, underneath, you might see a little vase. That represents the vinegar that was given to Jesus when he said he was thirsty. And around it is right up here above it, right tied to the ladder, is the sponge that they used to give Jesus the water. So, and then you can see the staff right here. And gosh, that's another definition of meaning too. As I can say, you can go through this whole candle and you can find so much symbolism, and it's all pretty much Catholicism. But this, you do not have to use the aspect of this candle for all of this, because on this candle, the way they have it, Jesus is the judge. He is the judge. Okay? And you can draw upon the energy of Jesus to use this candle. Absolutely can. And most people who practice Santeria does that. Okay? And when you do use that, Jesus as the judge for this candle, you actually, in the prayer, you use a prayer instead of casting as a spell, you cast it as a prayer. And so you would say something like, Most High, Holy Judge. This is written on the back of the candle if you want to use that one. Or you can write your own spell, but you would do the acclamates of Holy High Judge, Son of Mary, and then you would go on and say, you know, what he did for you. You spilled your blood for me on the cross and such as that. That candle, you can use it that way. Or you can look at the symbolism as, something. Now, this is me. This is how I've always looked at the symbolism as, well, Jesus is on the cross and he took on the sins, of course, of the world, and he actually did. He erased them. Okay, he made them go away, so we're in the clear. Okay, but I never saw this as Jesus. I just saw this as the representation of justice. That's just me. It's the representation of, well, what has to be, justice will be served. In other words, if I am not guilty of something, I will not serve time or do any penance for it. Now, that being said, let's take this all completely out the courtroom. Let's say we use this candle on just a day to day, not the judge, not legal, just everyday plain Jane. Here we go. I don't plain Jane. Anyway, if you're going to use it just, the way it is, here we go. You would still use the Just Judge powder because, like I said, Just Judge is self-explanatory. It's justice being served on someone. In this case, it's justice being served on someone who did you wrong. You want the right justice to be served on someone who did you wrong. Now, you can still use High John the Conqueror oil because you are trying to command the situation. But you can also use empowerment oil. In a case like that one, I like empowerment oil because it's still the concept of it's still taking, like this is going to be done. Yes, it will, but it's taking control of it fully. That's why I use the empowerment oil. Now, how would you use a Just Judge candle in that way? Let me explain. I can tell you this in the story. Many years ago, I had a nice lady come to my then shop. I had a brick and mortar store for a reading, and she was very sad. She was, to be very honest, she was just depressed and she was beat down. And the reason she was feeling this way was because her then husband was cheating on her at that particular time with another woman, his mistress. And he had gotten his mistress pregnant. And instead of just outright leaving his wife for the mistress, he was playing them both. The wife knew he was with the mistress. He would come to her and they would make love, and he would say, "Oh honey, I love you, I love you, I'm going to be with you always." And then after he did what he did, after they had made love and had sex, really it was just sex, he would basically kick her to the curb and go back to the other woman. Now he kept doing this over and over again, to the point where honestly it was making this poor lady neurotic, because she still loved her husband, as of course she should. That's her husband. But she also was feeling used. She was feeling mentally abused, and she was being mentally abused, and she was just angry and didn't know what to do. After the reading, I did see on her cards that there was a transformation in her future. Now, transformations can be very good, or they can be just not good, literally, one or two. And I wanted to help her make this good. So I told her to use a just judge candle. So she purchased one, and I dressed it for her. And I told her, now look, all you have to do is say this: let justice be served to my husband for what he has done to me and that other woman. May justice be served upon him. Now, you have to understand, that's some deep stuff. And the reason that's deep, because what does justice serve mean? It means revelation or revealing of the truth. The truth is revealed. She added that to her spell because I told her to. Justice will be served and the truth will be revealed. And I will tell everybody to do that. Justice will be served and the truth will be revealed. And so, all that being said, let me get to what happened. She went ahead, she bought the candle. I dressed it, she bought it. She went home and lit the candle and did what she was supposed to do. May justice be served upon my husband for what he has done to me and this woman. May the truth be revealed. As my will, so mote it be. Yes, she did. And she said it with attitude, as she should have, because she was putting out her energy into the universe. And when you do that, you put it out there like a sharp arrow. Anyway, end result is this. She came back about, I would say, 3 months later, letting me know that the mistress had had the baby early. And come to find out, it wasn't his. What a shocker. Hmm. And in that 3 month time, I had told the lady to just meditate. And, she did, after this candle, she did light a candle for self love and self empowerment. And she felt herself getting stronger. And she felt herself getting to be the type of woman she wanted to be. And at the end of results, her husband came back to her and wanted to reconcile and repair the marriage. And she thought about it, and she came back to me for a card reading. And before I could really turn the cards, I said to her, wait a minute. Well, actually, I had turned one card, and it was the hangman. So I asked her, the hangman, that means you're between worlds here, which means it was basically she was between decisions to stay or, you remember the rock song, Should I Stay or Should I Go Now? Okay, I'm sorry. That just came up in my brain. Anyway, the end result was she still loved her husband, but she didn't trust him. And of course, as some of you already know, love without trust will eventually corrode because it will turn into anger, hatred, resentment. She didn't want that to be in her life. So she did not choose to reconcile with her husband because he had made her a neurotic wreck. And she did not trust that he wouldn't do this to her again, because she had to ask the question, What if the baby had been his? Would he be here now? What if he had discovered that his mistress hadn't cheated on her, had not cheated on him? Would he be with me now? And she felt the answer would be no. So she divorced him. And she said to me, later on, she moved to Texas and I got a phone call. She told me she was happy. She had decided to go back to school and further her education. Her boys were happy and they were learning, even though he was still at that time in California, he was going to move to Texas to be closer to her and their children, their sons, and they were going to learn to have to co-parent. Yes, he did want to reconcile the marriage. She didn't trust, and she was being honest with herself and with him. So they would have to figure out a way to co-parent their children. And that's the end of it. And that's how she used the Just Judge candle. Okay? So there's not really more I can say about that. I'm going to leave the link in this video to my listing of this candle. But I'm going to be honest, you can buy this candle at a Walmart. But I'm gonna tell you, you gotta deal with a lot of yucky energy when you go to places like Walmart or the grocery store. I would strongly suggest you buy a candle like this at a spiritual shop. Doesn't have to be mine, but it's definitely a spiritual shop or a botanica where you know what energy is surrounding this candle. Because you always clean your candles before you use them, especially if they come undressed, you're going to clean the candle. But it's easier to clean a candle that's kind of been pre-cleaned. I think you understand what I mean. So that being said, I do sell this candle on my shop, and I do sell it dressed or undressed, so you can dress it yourself. Feel free. I also want to add before, now that we're close to ending this video, I should have said it before, please like and subscribe this video. And I'm going to call it a night because it's that time. But again, I want you guys to know that the most important thing to remember is to be honest with yourself and true to your magic. Never waver in your intent. And all of you guys, blessed be.